He was 52 years old. Arthritis in every joint, heart failing. Walked with a cane. The generals laughed at his request. His wife begged him to stay home. But Theodore Roosevelt Jr. demanded to lead the first wave at D-Day. What happened next rewrote the rulebook on courage. June 6, 1944. Roosevelt sat in a landing craft cutting through black water. Around him, boys barely 20 years old vomited from fear. He was older than their fathers. A medical board had rejected him 3 times. Your heart won't survive combat, the doctors warned. He volunteered again, not as an observer. As the only general in the first assault wave, the youngest soldier on his boat was 19. The oldest was 52. Guess which one the others watched? His father was President Theodore Roosevelt. The shadow of that name crushed him his entire life. World War I gave him one chance to prove himself. He earned the Distinguished Service Cross. But his younger brother Quentin died in aerial combat. Shot down over France in 1918, Theodore survived. That guilt ate him alive for 26 years. Every promotion felt hollow. Every medal felt stolen. He was living the life his brother should have had. By 1944, time was running out. His body was deteriorating. Doctors gave him months, maybe a year. Then D-Day was announced, the largest invasion in human history. His final chance at redemption. General Barton refused his request. You're too valuable to risk. Roosevelt wrote one sentence that changed everything. I'll be the first boots on Utah Beach, or I resign my commission. Barton had no choice. He approved it. 6:31 a.m. Roosevelt's boot hit Utah Beach. Bullets tore through the air. Artillery shells cratered the sand around him. Men fell before reaching dry ground. He looked at his map. Then at the terrain, his stomach dropped. They'd landed 2,000 yards south of the target. The entire invasion plan was now worthless. Every exit route was wrong. Every fortification was in an unexpected position. Behind him, 23,000 men were coming, all heading to the wrong beach. Most commanders would panic, call for evacuation, wait for orders from above. Roosevelt grabbed his cane, started walking toward the German guns. His aide screamed, "General, get down!" Roosevelt kept walking. Shells exploded 15 feet away. He didn't flinch, just kept studying the battlefield, like he was shopping for groceries. A private later described what he saw. The old man walked past our position, smoking a cigar, bullets everywhere. He stopped, looked at a dead German soldier, looked back at us and smiled. Then he said something I'll never forget. What Roosevelt said next is still taught at West Point. We'll start the war from right here. 5 words, that's all. No radio call to headquarters. No request for permission. No committee meeting. He made a decision that would affect 23,000 lives. In 30 seconds, while standing in a kill zone, he immediately began redirecting landing craft, pointing with his cane like a traffic cop, sending units to new positions, rewriting the invasion plan in real time. All while German artillery zeroed in on him. A naval officer watching through binoculars radioed back. There's a crazy old man with a cane, reorganizing the entire beach. Should we evacuate him? The response came back. That's Teddy Roosevelt's son. Leave him alone. What happened over the next 12 hours defies belief. Roosevelt never took cover, not once. He walked the entire length of Utah Beach. 4 miles under constant fire. His aide kept a tally of near misses. 17 shells landed within lethal distance. Roosevelt survived all of them. A sergeant from the 4th Infantry Division wrote home, "We came off that boat expecting to die. Then we saw him standing there like he owned the beach. If that old man with a cane wasn't scared, why should we be?" That's the detail historians miss. Roosevelt didn't just make tactical decisions. He weaponized his age. Every soldier who saw him thought the same thing. If he can do this, so can I. By 1 p.m., a lieutenant watched Roosevelt do something insane. A German sniper had pinned down 2 squads. Roosevelt walked directly toward the sniper nest. In the open, no cover. The sniper took 3 shots. All missed. Roosevelt reached the position, pointed his cane at it, called in naval artillery. The position was destroyed. He turned to the trapped soldiers and said, "Road's clear, boys." Then kept walking. At 3:47 p.m., a combat photographer captured something extraordinary. A shell exploded 12 feet from Roosevelt. The camera caught him mid-stride, not running, not diving, walking. The photo shows a slight smile on his face. When asked about it later, Roosevelt said, "I figured if God wanted me dead, he'd have better aim." That photo is still classified as psychologically damaging to enemy morale. The Germans put a bounty on him that afternoon. 5,000 Reichsmarks for the old man with the cane. No one collected. By nightfall, Utah Beach was secured. 23,000 men safely ashore. Casualties: 197 killed. Omaha Beach landing at the correct position, 2,000 killed. The military brass couldn't explain it. Landing in the wrong place should have been catastrophic. Instead, it was the most successful beach landing of D-Day. Years later, declassified documents revealed why. Roosevelt's wrong beach had weaker defenses. But only he recognized it instantly. Only he adapted without permission. Only he bet 23,000 lives on his gut instinct. And he was right. Eisenhower personally wrote the Medal of Honor recommendation. The citation praised his valor and courage under fire. But Roosevelt never saw it. 37 days after D-Day, his heart gave out. July 12, 1944. Massive heart attack in his sleep. The doctors had been right all along. The deployment killed him. But here's what they didn't understand. Roosevelt knew. He knew D-Day would end him. He went anyway. Here's what the history books don't tell you. Roosevelt didn't just risk himself. His son Quentin II was also landing at Normandy. Different beach, different unit. But Roosevelt knew. He knew he might orphan his grandchildren. He knew his wife would be alone. He knew the cost. Some historians argue he was selfish, a glory seeker chasing his father's legacy. Others say he was suicidal, using D-Day as an honorable way out. But the soldiers who served under him tell a different story. Captain John McGregor wrote in his diary, "General Roosevelt didn't act like a man seeking death. He acted like a man who'd already accepted it. There's a difference. One runs toward bullets. The other walks through them." The Medal of Honor arrived in September 1944. Posthumous, his widow Eleanor accepted it. She held the medal and said something that still echoes. "He told me before he left. I've been preparing for this moment my whole life. If I die doing this, I'll die complete." Roosevelt was buried in Normandy, next to his brother Quentin, the brother who died 26 years earlier, the ghost he'd been chasing since 1918. Their graves sit side by side. Two Roosevelt brothers finally together. Both gave everything for their country. But only one lived long enough to know he'd earned it. Modern special forces study Roosevelt's beach tactics. His instant decision-making under fire, his psychological warfare through personal example. Navy SEALs call it leading from the front with impossible stakes. The principle is simple. Soldiers follow courage, not rank. They follow someone willing to die beside them. Roosevelt understood this at a cellular level. The military tried to stop him because of age. They almost blocked one of D-Day's most critical leaders. Think about that. How many too old people get sidelined every day? How much experience gets wasted? Roosevelt was older than 94% of D-Day soldiers. His body was failing. But his mind was a weapon 52 years in the making. He'd studied warfare for decades, experienced World War I, lost people he loved, built resilience through pain. When D-Day came, his body was weak. His spirit was unbreakable. Age didn't slow him down. It sharpened him. Youth has energy. Experience has wisdom. Roosevelt proved you need the second more than the first. Veterans still visit his grave in Normandy. They leave medals at the headstone. Combat boots, dog tags. Canes and always canes. The epitaph reads simply, Theodore Roosevelt Jr., Brigadier General, Medal of Honor. Nothing about his age. Nothing about his limitations, just his choice. His son wrote years later, "My father spent 52 years preparing to be brave for 12 hours. On Utah Beach, every second of preparation mattered. They called him too old to fight. He became the oldest D-Day general. He made the fastest tactical decision in invasion history. He saved thousands of lives by landing in the wrong place. And he died knowing he'd finally earned his name." Roosevelt's last words were about his men. "Tell them I'm proud." Then his heart stopped. The mission was complete. But his story isn't unique. There was another too-old soldier at Iwo Jima, a 60-year-old colonel. What he did makes Roosevelt look cautious. The Marines tried to court-martial him for it, until they saw the results.